Good evening, viewers, and welcome back to a new edition of Eyes on New Jersey News. I'm John Edmunds, and today I'm here in Trenton, New Jersey at the NJWeedman's joint to check up on him and his establishment and see what's going on and new and trending in the cannabis world here in New Jersey. Also, we have a remote guest appearing, Dan Ulloa, who's the editor of HeadyNJ, and we're going to speak with him a little bit about some of the topics he's been covering and developing in the news landscape regarding cannabis. Let's go ahead and bring Dan on.
Hi.
Hey, good evening, Dan. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, John?
Of course, thank you for joining us this evening. So Dan, I want to educate our viewers and audience here a little bit about you and what HeadyNJ does here for the great state of New Jersey.
So my name is Dan Ulloa. I'm an advocate with the Latino Action Network. I represent them on the NJUMR Coalition, NJ United for Marijuana Reform, and our fight now for implementation. Now that we want a mandate, I was really happy. Cannabis question won on the ballot, won by 67% of the vote, an unprecedented amount for cannabis. So it's been really interesting that way. And yeah, so as the editor of HeadyNJ, I'm covering cannabis news in New Jersey, including politics and the industry. So it's been an exciting time.
Indeed. I mean, obviously, with what has transpired in the last few days, I mean, this just must be monumental for what you've been covering and whatnot. So, what changes do you foresee, like in the foreseeable future now that this new, obviously the majority of the New Jersey residents have voted, they want cannabis, they want it legal. What do you foreseeing taking place, in the next days, weeks, and months?
So what's happening now, John, is we're discussing the implementation of this law. Say, like, how do we get our adult use cannabis that now we, the people, have decided that we want? So it's been really interesting watching that process. First, Governor Phil Murphy appointed a chair of the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, Diana Wainu. Jeff Brown is the executive director, so that'll be really interesting to see as they regulate medical marijuana and adult use cannabis. But really, the big issue is the legislature, and it's been really actually interesting. We very quickly, late last night, got some news that there's going to be hearings next week in Trenton. So I can't wait. I'm going to testify in favor of just bill. We need a bill for our adult use market here in New Jersey that really helps Hispanic Americans and Black Americans who have really been hurt by the war on drugs. They've been hurt by their possession of this plant that's not only is it not harmless, it's actually really good for you. It's kind of crazy how it is for you for autoimmune diseases. And, there's so many great stories of patients who were like sickly and could barely move. And now they're like vivacious, vibrant people, very energetic. So, we're really looking at implementation. So, like, that's the catch. Nobody can start smoking on the street right now. And we're also waiting for charges are going to be dropped for pending charges. And a lot of cannabis crimes are being dealt with in a separate bill this week as well.
I see. Indeed. I mean, I saw one of your recent articles about that 4 members of the public were recently arrested in the township of Brick, New Jersey, and this just comes days after the announcement of the election.
So that had happened like a little while ago, but it is really like indicative of what's happening. Is that you're getting like these unfortunate arrests of certain crimes, and like the cannabis isn't the worst part of it a lot of time.
Of course, indeed. So what are your thoughts on the forms of expungement and a sort of automated process that should be enacted to sort of aid people who have been wronged in this war on drugs and crime in the last years, decades? I mean, what legislation, what type of language would you like to see that allows for something like that?
Right. So we're really looking for language that's really comprehensive about looking to like free cannabis prisoners. We have S 2535 is the Senate criminalization bill. sponsored by Senator Therese of North. Really good bill. Senator Therese, we want to thank her for working on that bill. It really is comprehensive in terms of stopping all the crimes. It is, though, so everybody convicted of possession of a pound or less, and like the crimes are going to be erased, and like ideally this will be a quick process. So yeah, happy about that. It'll be interesting then to see what happens with other crimes and where they draw the line, like distribution, home grow. That might be difficult. We're still seeing like great step forward here.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, there's obviously that conversation, and then there's the other conversation of what actually is going on right here where I am at this location at NJWeedman's joint. He's taking a little bit of a different approach towards what traditional legislation is paving out for him. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on Mr. Forchion's operation here.
So Ed's a good guy. Shout out to Weedman. And it's difficult. It has been a question really of like how is the underground market, which Ed Weedman represents, going to like assimilate or like react to this thing. And like, I understand his point because trafficking, because that's the thing then. So the charges of distribution and trafficking more than a pound, I don't think are addressed by this bill. That's a little difficult. By the same token, he's a rehabilitated felon. That I believe that should not deter him. I believe that should deter him from being able to like enter the market. We'll see what happens with that. It's a difficult question because if you don't have people like Ed in the market, who are you gonna have in the market? Like ideally, like I know like great Hispanic entrepreneurs, business people that'd be great who are currently in CBD and eyeing this thing as like it could be a boom, for example.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, I know Ed, personally. He's quite a gentleman here as well. I mean, what he's got going on is such a unique case of buying and selling and serving his community and even his extended community. I mean, I've spoken to some of the patrons that come and shop here. They come from miles around, or even across state lines. I mean, what he has going on here, people really admire it, they respect it, and they support it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand that. No, Ed's a good guy, and I think there definitely should be a place for him in the legal cannabis industry. He's been out there like a long while fighting for this. I myself was working on more like economic issues before I got into pure cannabis, which does have a great economic component in terms of being an employer with good jobs, in terms of opportunities for entrepreneurs as well. So yeah, it's really fascinating. But I think there should be an opportunity for Ed and those like him. We'll see with the market and how it really turns out. Legislation for this market S21 was really literally released to the public late last night. On a Friday night when nobody was waiting, nobody was watching for this, or it's like you don't expect this to happen at that time, and then it's like the hearing's Monday. So the speed of that is quite interesting, but we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting week.
Indeed, we will. Indeed, we will see what happens. So Dan, I'd like to, tell our viewers, where could they learn more about you and your publication, and where could they find out more information about you and your services?
So our site here is HeadyNJ.com. We are an online independent media site covering cannabis in New Jersey, covering politics and industry of marijuana as it becomes legal, as well as the form of CBD and hemp. So we're excited about that. So I urge everybody to go to HeadyNJ.com. I also just recently published a book, Cannabis 101, describing the nature of the industry, the politics of it, and social impact. It's available on the site.
That's awesome, Dan. I look forward to reading it, and I look forward to following your great work. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
You're very welcome. Good talking to you.
All right. Have yourself a great rest of your day, all right?
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. So, folks, you just heard from Dan Ulloa, editor of the HeadyNJ publication. In just a few moments, we're going to be speaking with New Jersey weedman himself, Ed Forchion. We're going to hear firsthand from him and what he has to say about his business and how he's going to combat with this new legislation change. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Jordan Kalmowitz. I haven't been on the show for quite some time, but here I am making my appearance at NJWeedman's joint. Tonight, I have a few questions from some patrons over with me. What do you guys feel about the medicinal or recreational marijuana bill passing that just happened?
Hey, well, to be honest, I say it's about time because, finally, it's about time because of the fact that now it's like now we don't have to worry about being secretive about it. Because a lot of people would think, oh well, it's not legal, so you gotta be secretive. Now we ain't gotta worry about that. So I feel as though now that it's legal, it's better and it'll open up more doors for people. For all we know, this might have a big positive on what we're doing, what we got going on around us.
Besides it being decriminalized and also being passed by, Mayor Murphy, I think it's better that, weed is decriminalized because now anybody can just walk around being free, smoke a blunt, doesn't matter what it be. I mean, I love that, weed has been legalized. I mean, we're in the United States. Everywhere it should be legal. I mean, come on now. All 50 states should be legal. We got it legal in Nevada. We got it legal in Vegas. We got it legal in Michigan. I mean, I love that I can sit here, wake up, and just walk down the street, smoke a blunt, and I don't have to worry about being prosecuted by an officer or anything this and that at all. So, that's good for me. I mean, it's a great thing that they passed the bill, and I mess with it. It's a good thing.
If I do, in my opinion, I honestly think it's way overdue because of the fact that they legalize it places far from where we are now. So if you want to really get some legal weed, you got to take a plane or train to go get it. And I feel as though that's kind of unfair. Like, why is it that you can't just legalize it everywhere and make it free, make it legal for everybody? Why just pick out certain spots and do that? So, like I said, it's way overdue, like yearly overdue. This should have been.
Why do I gotta sit here and ride and take an 8-hour flight to go to Cali and sit here and get some good weed from there, and then I gotta come back and I can't get no weed here. I gotta sit here and be secretive about where I get my weed. Instead, I can come down here to the NJWeedman, come down here not worried about nobody pressing me or asking me what am I doing. I can come down here and get some good weed and don't worry about nothing.
Right. It's about time. Way about time. So, hey, us.
All right. Thank you, viewers. I think we're going to bring in some more guests and pretty much just get a little bit more opinions about some patrons here at the NJWeedman's joint. We'll be right back. Hello, viewers, and welcome back. I'm Jordan Kalmowitz from Eyes on New Jersey News. I'm here at NJWeedman's joint in Trenton, New Jersey. I have a patron. What's your name?
My name's Nick. I'm not a patron. Just visiting.
Nick, over here at NJWeedman's joint. So, Nick, how do you feel about the recent passing of the recreational marijuana bill in New Jersey?
Well, I personally feel like we could have held out for a better deal. I think a lot of libertarians feel this way. I think you look at the national spectrum. You look at heroin and cocaine being legalized in Washington, but then you look at New Jersey where you wouldn't be able to grow marijuana yourself. I don't consider that legalization.
Interesting take on it. And do you know anything else for our viewers? Anything besides that? Like, are you involved in anything else? As far as the medicinal marijuana or the marijuana coalition, anything in New Jersey here?
Well, I do have very strong libertarian values. Maybe nothing should be illegal.
Perfect. And what's one thing that our viewers should know about this bill or anything that's going on involving the marijuana like kind of topic in New Jersey?
I think an interesting thing to think about is just that, it wouldn't really be legal. It would be available for distribution in flower and probably edible and probably vaporizer form. You wouldn't be able to grow it. And I think that is really transcended. We had 30 years of great legislation from now Mayor Reed Gasoria when he was working at other levels in our state, where he was able to write this legislation that is the legislation that led to original, you know, medicinal marijuana in New Jersey. Now, this legislation could have been continued in a similar language and speak under that which was created by now Mayor Reed Gasoria here in Trenton. And I think it would be much more valuable. We would be able to grow marijuana if it was legal. Under this bill, marijuana is still not legal. It's an illusion of legality, fake legal weed in New Jersey.
And do you have anything maybe our viewers want to hear about something that went on in the convention? I'm not really too familiar with it, so do you have any insight on it maybe?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask that. About 2.5 weeks ago, I was offered a position to go and do something in the Philadelphia Convention Center. And it was really interesting because it was vague. It was unclear of what I was doing. And I wound up going through with the position, but never actually showed up on my first day of work. And I didn't even show up for the first week and 3 days. And then when I finally did show up to work, it was the day after the election. I went in because I was curious as to what was going on in there. And it was just the illusion of productivity. Everyone in the convention center is alphabetizing ballots, not even counting ballots. They're just alphabetizing them and pretending to be working. No work is getting done. They'll alphabetize it all the way one way, shuffle them, alphabetize it again. This is just the illusion of performance in Philadelphia right now. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the plan is, but nothing's getting done.
Thank you so much. And viewers, we're going to have a few more interviews coming on, so if you could stay with us, that would be great. I'm Jordan Kalmowitz, and you have yourself a good night. Thank you. We'll be right back. Hold on, one more thing our viewer wants to say.
So that's the Nick Catucci YouTube. I have these videos. I have videos from the convention center, snippets from my pocket that I've uploaded. I also have talked with Mayor Giuliani about this on his radio show, and I had an opportunity to talk to 100.3 this morning, who they thought they were doing a great job talking to the young commissioner there in Philadelphia. Listen, I don't know how big of a check this guy took, but his business does not function. That's all I have to say.
And that's it, viewers. I'm going to be right back. Thank you so much. And if you could stay with us, we'd really appreciate it.
Hey, good evening, folks. John Edmunds here. In just a few moments, we're going to speak with Ed Forchion, also known as the New Jersey Weedman. We're going to have a little conversation with him right here in his joint. So stay tuned, everybody. And welcome back, everyone. We're here once again here at the New Jersey Weedman's Joint in Trenton, New Jersey. And I'm sitting with the weed man himself, Mr. Ed Forchion. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yep. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, very good, very good.
That's good. Listen, this is a good day for two reasons. I'm gonna put two things out there. One, yes, halfway there with legalization. I say halfway there because yes, arrests have stopped. I don't like the way they're corporatizing. You know, that's the plan, to corporatize. And I think it should be a free market system with legalization. So I'm a 50-50 guy. I kind of like it. I don't like it. I was opposed to certain things, and I still am. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still on my horse, and I'm still in battle until this whole legalization is inclusive of everybody, especially people who went to prison for it. Then I'm still fighting. And then the second thing is, yes, they declared Trump gone today. They declared Biden the winner. I don't care if it was Biden or Banana. I'm glad Trump is gone. I'm happy that Trump is gone. All right. So yes, I'm celebrating that too. In a few minutes, I'm actually gonna go get my cut out of Trump, and I don't know, maybe slap him or something. I don't know.
Very good, Ed. So, for those who don't know or watching at home, what is it that you actually do here at this shop here in New Jersey Weedman's Joint? What actually goes on here?
Well, 1/8 ounces and chicken wings. I mean, you can come here, you can get an 1/8 an ounce, or you can get some chicken wings. Chicken wings, because we have a restaurant. It's actually a full menu. You can get way more than chicken wings, but there's munchy food here. There's, cheesesteaks here. There's ice cream sandwiches. There's, a whole bunch of little things, candies and things like that. And of course, I'm a black marketeer who's very, very open about it. Yes, I provide 420.
You actively sell a prohibited plant here at this facility.
Yes.
Oh, very good. So, we've heard your thoughts on this new bill that's coming out here. Obviously, the people of New Jersey have spoken. They do want cannabis legalized. And how is this vote? How is this going to impact you? How do you believe this is going to change your operations, your day-to-day activities here? What do you foresee changing?
Right now, it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't make me legal. See, I'm kind of, this is still my protest. I started at openly selling weed here just as a protest. I said I was in my Rosa Parks moment of my protest, of my activism. I've always been a civil disobedience type of guy. I always emulate. I always admired. I always admired Rosa Parks, how she sparked this whole the modern day civil rights movement by refusing to get off the bus. So right now, I'm refusing. I'm emulating her, and I'm refusing to get off this cannabis. And I say cannabis meaning, it's the cannabis industry and all this stuff is being created. And I feel like, listen, the marijuana industry has been here. We've been here. I've been providing marijuana off and on to people for 30 years. I've got famous for doing it. And this new legalization, the way they're going to do it here in New Jersey, this whole corporatization, this whole big Walmarts of weed, and excluding the black market, the existing market right now, I'm opposed to that. So this is my kind of way of protesting that. This is my way of just saying, nope, I'm not getting off the bus. Arrest me. This is my civil disobedience. Arrest me. Let's have a trial. I won't take a plea. I want a full trial in front of 12 people, and I want to explain to them why I openly break this law. And if they feel for me, they'll say not guilty. If they believe that the law is right and correct and this, that, and the other, and I'm just a criminal, I'll go to prison. I don't think that'll happen, though. I don't think we're there. Nobody should go to prison. Look, for trimming a plant that I grew here, this was illegal. It's illegal to grow weed in New Jersey. So what do you think? You think somebody would put me in prison for this? I don't think so. I'm not hiding. I think if we, the people, stopped hiding anyway and just came out, just, the hell with it, more openly, we wouldn't have a lot of these problems we have if people, came out of the cannabis closet, And I know in the last 10 years, a lot of people have, medical marijuana has helped that a lot, but now we're into the recreational age, the ganjapreneur age. People should be allowed to operate businesses. You should be able to sell and barter and trade this stuff any way you want to, and that's where I'm at. I'm fighting and advocating for that still. The corporatizers have gotten what they wanted. We're going to have corporate marijuana here.
Indeed, with the corporate marijuana sort of culture movement sweeping through the state here, What do you believe that your clientele is going to increase or decrease with this change in the landscape?
I don't think it affected much at all. I don't think it affected. A lot of people who come here already, they support the black market anyway. And I think the black market will be supported. In fact, if anything, I get some people that would go there. I know even now with the medical marijuana people, what they do is they get their cards, they get their Kuma cards, they get their medical bottles. And so many times I have somebody come here to buy weed and they don't want me to put it in my containers, in my bottle. They stuff it into their container, into the Kuma containers, the Kuma bottles, just so that, if they're riding down the road, cop thinks it's a legitimate package. So I don't really think I don't think it affected me that much right now. Later on down the road, who knows? I think that the vast amount of people, they like the little black marketplaces. They like buying their weed from their neighbor, their buddy. Going to these big corporate places is a turnoff to some people. You can't touch the weed, you can't smoke the weed, you don't know where it came from. I mean, well, not that you don't know where it came from, but you don't the quality is not the same. A lot of people complain about the quality, about the price. It's always higher than the street weed. And then on top of that, they pay taxes. Now, me, I come from that era of people where I used to actively say taxation instead of incarceration. So you don't hear me complain too much about the taxes on weed because I always said taxation instead of incarceration. I've been in prison for weed. So my idea was, hey, I would have gladly have paid taxes on it. If I was allowed to pay taxes on it for that weed that I went to prison for, I would have if I was allowed to. So I'm not a hypocrite. At this point, do I think weed should be taxed? Not really. But do I think is that a consolation of legalization? Yes.
You did try to take the legal approach in marketing and selling cannabis here, but you weren't able to complete that process. Is that correct in the state?
Yeah, because I'm a felon, I'm not allowed to. That's one of the things I'm still fighting for. And I find that amazing. People who've been in this game for a long time, we court charges. If for the last 50 years, who the people of New Jersey in the last 50 years gotten their marijuana from? They've gotten it from people like me. So people like me court charges, correct felonies, done prison time, this, that, and the other. There's a marijuana distribution network in New Jersey now, multiple, hundreds of them. And we supply the hundreds of thousands of people who use marijuana now. So now they're creating this, they're attempting, the government people, the politicians, and the cannabaggers from out of state are attempting to create what they call the cannabis industry right here in New Jersey, right on top of the existing market. Now, I personally think that they should have legalized the existing market. There should be a free market. There should be an inclusive way to put the black market in play. Instead, they're excluding us. They're basically giving everything to the cannabaggers. And yes, lately there's a lot of talk about social justice and stuff. But even that, when I read the things that they're offering for social justice, it's nothing for the guys who went to prison, nothing for the people. We call it the insurgents who provided marijuana anyway. And I say the insurgents because it was a war. It was a war on marijuana, it was a war on pot, and the government waged this against us. And some people went to prison for openly defying, for providing this substance to the people. And I actually feel some kind of way too. There's so many people kind of forget about the people who've been providing in the last 50 years. And even though that question was legalizing it, it clearly was excluding the people who had previously been providing marijuana to people. So I feel like, wow, for all these years, people have risked their lives, risked their families, everything to sell marijuana, to provide marijuana to the people. And now kind of like the people kind of like look the other way as is being sold to somebody else. The whole industry is being given to somebody else, And I tell people too sometimes it's like the Columbusization of marijuana, and I say that meaning, Christopher Columbus came to America and said, "Hey, I discovered America," despite the fact there was already millions of people here, right? Same thing with this. The cannabis industry guys. Oh, we're creating the cannabis industry. We're doing this. We're doing that. Like, dude, there's a whole market, a whole marijuana market here right now. And we're the ones who provide the people now. There's somewhere around between 650 and 800,000 regular users of marijuana now in the state of New Jersey. and there is no legal means to get it. So, okay, where do they get it from? They get it from the black market. And now they're creating this new market to steal our market, start all over, and they're going to be like, we're legal. Like, so imagine that. I've been selling weed off and on since I got out of the Army in 1991. Basically over 30 years, right at 30 years, off and on. You know, some periods I went 4 or 5 years, some periods 2 years, whatever. Right now, I've been openly selling right here for the last 2 years. But anyway, now they're creating this new market, and guys like us are totally like not even allowed. And I'm not the only one. There's hundreds of guys like me. I mean, I know numerous ones. I go to pop-ups. I know where to go. There's places like this that exist right in this city. There's at least 2 of them that I know of, and there's probably more because I'm not from Trenton. Same thing when I go to Camden. I know a couple places I can go to, barbershops, beauty salons, little bodega type shops. Go in the back and bam, they got more weed than I got.
But they're not doing like this
They're not
spectacle
openly.
operation or what you
Because
got.
I'm an activist, I'm trying. I'm doing it on purpose. I'm trying to create change.
Yeah. I mean,
So
tell us a little about what you're doing right here. Like what exactly is this
I'm
in the
just
process?
trimming again. Last spring when they were talking about what was that? SB 2703 was the bill that they were trying to pass for legalization, and that bill said no home grow. So I like made a big fuss one day, and I said I was going to home grow and fuck you guys, the whole civil disobedience, and I started growing. Well, here we are, 7 months later, and it's time to trim. This was my protest bud a couple months ago. Remember, I was selling clones to everybody. I had all these clones. I was giving them away like on Father's Day and Mother's Day and $10. Hey, come grab a clone. Come grab a clone. Just so I can help like fuck you, the civil disobedience aspect of giving people weed, like to grow. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trimming some bud that I grew illegally.
And obviously this is against the law, if I'm correct, right?
It's absolutely against the
illegal
law.
in every aspect.
Totally illegal. But listen, so the ATCs, the medical marijuana people that are growing, they're just as illegal as me. Federally, the federal government is illegal anyway. It's always illegal. So they're no better than me. They're violating federal law. Yeah, sure, they bribe the state to write the laws for them so they can get a little protection from the state, but they're still illegal as far as I'm concerned.
I see. What type of jail time would one typically see if they were caught, doing what you're doing here, trimming the leaves with this little bush?
Well, you can definitely get this would be a manufacturing charge, so you can get a second degree crime, which is 10 years. You probably wouldn't do 10 years, but you do a good 4. But that's only if a jury agreed. And I always take all my cases to a jury, and I don't think a jury would put me in prison for weed. So that's why I do the things I do, because I don't think the state can get 12. Hashtag that, people. Hashtag NJ can't get 12. Wait, what camera's on?
This right
This
here.
one. All right.
Here.
Hashtag, remember that, people. Hashtag NJ, New Jersey, can't get 12. That's how I look at it. NJ can't get 12. All right.
No, I did.
This looks pretty good, man. Look at this. I just lollipopped that right in front of you.
Very nice work.
This is some Hawaiian OG.
Hawaiian OG.
Give it a couple of days. It's going to get tight, a little tighter. Give it I'm going to save it for about a month. Cure it for about a month.
What type of effects would this have on a person if they were to ingest this Hawaiian OG? What would happen to them?
This is an indica. This is more of a relaxed in the couch, you can say. This is more laid back. Something. Yeah, I did that right here on your right as I was talking to you.
Very nice. Looks very artistic.
Dan? Half an ounce? That's about a half an ounce.
Very good indeed, Ed. So I understand you recently ran for Congress as well here in this district. Is that correct?
Yeah, I ran for Congress, but I always run for office. My thing. I'm a protest candidate, so I kind of get on the ballot every year. This year, I actually thought, I might get a lot more votes than I actually did. I got optimistic this year. It didn't turn out that I didn't get much more than I ever get. But, I saw the whole thing. The question was going to be on the ballot for legalizing marijuana. I always run under the legalized marijuana party. I really thought I was going to get a whole bunch of extra votes because of that. And the crazy thing that happened? The Democrats who run the Department of Elections here took my slogan off. I've run for office 17 times. Actually, I've run for office 18 times, but 17 times I've run under the legalized marijuana party. This year, I did everything the same. And I find out just before the ballots was printed that they took my slogan off and acted like I made a mistake. And my name was there, Edward Forchion, but legalized marijuana party was not there. Like, to me, it was a coup. Like, there's a question on the ballot about legalizing marijuana. Somebody get their petition in the ballot and they look and it's like, oh wow, this guy here, he's a legalized marijuana party. I'm gonna vote for him just for, you know what I mean? And they stripped it. And I actually filed a lawsuit with the courts right here in Mercer County. I tried to force them to put my name on the ballot, but I didn't find out until the day before the printers were going to print. So the judge used that as an excuse, basically said that, had I filed earlier, had I raised the issue earlier, it might have been a different result. But at this point, I would just be slowing down everything. I'd cost money, and she knew based on my history, I didn't have very good of a chance of winning anyway. So she denied me the right to have the Department of Elections put my name back on the ballot. So put my slogan back on the ballot. So I was kind of frustrated this year, but I still got, a couple thousand votes, 3,000 or 4,000 votes, almost 4,000 votes the last time I looked. They're still tallying up everything, just like they're still tallying up the presidential elections. They're still tallying up right now. But the last time I checked, I had right at 3,000 votes. Yeah.
Very, very impressive, Ed. It's really quite something. You obviously do have a significant following of supporters and people who do believe in your movement and your values and what changes you do want to represent to the state. Real quickly, if you were elected to Congress, what sort of changes would you make it your agenda to push out?
Obviously, I would push for a federal descheduling of marijuana. I would push for things like that. I would push for other harm reduction aspects of the war on drugs too. Maybe getting rid of mandatory, this, that, and the other. I think certain substances shouldn't even be illegal. For instance, mushrooms. Mushrooms shouldn't be illegal. There's a few other things. Certain cactuses, peyotes, and things like that. So the natural things, they shouldn't even be on the schedule. Obviously, I think marijuana shouldn't be. And even I'm not a hypocrite, even though I don't do heroin or cocaine or any of those things. I still think they should be treated as a health issue and a health problem, as opposed to a criminal aspect. I don't think you get caught with some heroin in your pocket, you should go to jail. You should get treated. You should be forced into treatment or something like that. I don't really think jail time doesn't do anything anyway. Trust me, I've been there. There's nobody learning nothing there. There's no corrective anything there.
It doesn't seem to be a very stimulating. It doesn't seem to be a very stimulating environment there. Just before I stepped on camera, my co-anchor Jordan Kalmowitz, he was telling me that in the state of Oregon, they recently decriminalized, I believe, all of the leading addictive drugs, recreational wise.
I didn't read all the details of what they did, but I did see the headlines that they basically decriminalized a lot of all drugs in I think it was Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah,
and certain states actually legalized psilocybin mushrooms. I think it was Colorado. I think it might have been New Hampshire or somewhere too. But I did see the headline. I didn't really study it yet, but at some point I'll sit back and I'll start reading some of these things and I'll get it. This week's been a hectic week, man. I've been sitting there. I've been paying attention to the presidential race all day. I don't do nothing but watch CNN and Fox News. Watch the live channel, then watch the other channel.
You got to watch them both to get a balance of some sort of reality.
And it's amazing the things that they say on Fox. Amazing, or they believe in it. They really believe it. That's the thing, they believe in it. So I'm sorry. I know some of your viewers have to be Trumpsters. I know. I totally understand that. They're everywhere.
We just try to, we're very independent here. We try to cover everything.
I understand. You have to be. You're a journalist. You have to be. But there's a certain person that was even attacking journalists like crazy for the last 4 years. And, I don't know. I didn't even like that. Like, come on, man. The journalists have a job to do. And their job is to serve as the fifth branch of government and to report to we the people. And this guy doesn't like that. And, that's part of the reason why people didn't like him either. And that's why he's gone. And I'm happy.
It's understandable. So another dilemma I've seen you've been facing here is these sort of imposters, NJWeedman imposters that have sort of been sprouting up around the. You want to talk a little bit about that? What's
They're
going on?
all over the place, man. All over the internet, man. There's NJWeedman fakers, and they really aren't just faking me. They're ripping off people who admire me or look at me, and they're putting up all these pages and acting like they're selling weed and they're me, or they're friends with me, or they're associates with me, and all they're doing is ripping off people. You know, there's one guy in particular who seems to have gotten very good at it. And we've tried everything. I've tried to hire people to get his IP address and everything. At one point, we thought he lived in Mountain View, California, but then he started popping up in Virginia again. So we don't know if he's the same guy, happens to move around, or he has some way of changing his IP address to cover his tracks. You know, because that's what like a professional place, some FBI agents or something. That's what they do. If they were trying to find this person on the internet, they would start trying to find his IP address. And there's a lot of tech and IP guys who know how to do that. So, I got somebody to do it, and they tracked him down to Mountain View, to an apartment complex. They couldn't get the exact place, but it was a Mountain View, California, and it was this big apartment complex. And then they couldn't find it. But then the next time they went looking, a couple weeks later, it was some rural area of Virginia. So I don't know who it is, but they are successfully ripping off people under my name, in my name. I keep telling people, listen, I don't sell nothing online. I don't mail nothing online. I was talking about marijuana, T-shirts and stuff, but I don't mail anything. I don't mail any marijuana. I receive it, but I don't mail any. But that's what they're doing. All these people are hitting them up, or they hit up people online and they tell them that they'll mail it, they'll send a package, they'll send a delivery guy, all this stuff. And then they never get their product. And then that's when they find me. Then that's when the person gets online looking for me, and they're like, because then they block them after they rip them off. Yeah. And then they go looking for me, and then they find me, and at first they usually accuse me of ripping them off. I'm like, oh, dude, look at the page. It's not me. You were talking to another page, and it happens all the time. They got somebody like yesterday, day before, for $200, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who never even tell me. They don't know, I've had people all of a sudden hit me up out of nowhere, like, dude, you ripped me off a couple months ago. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And they were dealing with somebody online pretending to be me, and they rip them off.
These people, they're harming the residents of New Jersey. They're robbing from their pockets. They're stealing
people from all over,
even beyond the state.
Yeah, I've had people like in Illinois hit me up and like, dude, I trusted you. I tried to do this, that, and the other, and you ripped me off. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And then it hits me. Oh man, this guy got up them too, and then I have to explain to them, and I'll go back and show them some of the things I posted online, saying don't send nobody any money thinking they're me. But
that's taken away from your business operations here. You got to spend time dealing with this. It's truly terrible.
It's not messing up my reputation. There are people out there who don't believe it. There are people probably think that I'm really like somehow doing it and then saying it's not me, but it's not me. Listen, anybody wants to buy weed from me, I gladly sell it to you.
They know where to find you.
Yeah,
right?
That's about an ounce after it's dry, and there's numerous colas on that tree.
You got some right behind us in the shot here.
Yeah. There are some. Well, these are some scraggly ones, but there's a couple little colas up tops. On the top, some are better, are okay.
Very cool.
At some point, like I said, I'm getting ready to just do them all.
Yeah. Well, Ed, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. Sort of bring our viewers up to what's going on around the state with the cannabis climate right now. And is there any last words you want to send us off on?
Come on down to the joint. 8 ounces and chicken wings, 322 East State Street, Trenton, New Jersey. The state's only open black market dispensary. Peace.
Very good, folks. So you heard it from NJWeedman himself. You know where to find him. You know what types of goodies he has here available for sale and purchase. So that's that. So I've been John Edmunds. Thank you so much for tuning in with us this evening, and we'll see you next week. Take care.